All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakak Kodash, the honors, unto the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone that taught us this truth through the Holy Spirit, and a sincere peace, blessings, and salutations to you, Akim, across the four corners of the earth that are pushing this knowledge of truth and sincerity. Mr. Brother Barzal from the GMS Arizona camp, Lord's will, with another quick lesson edified through the Holy Spirit to you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the true children of Israel, according to the scriptures and according to the prophecy. Shalom. Going into this whole scandal that has been brought out dealing with the Deacon Hakar of the TCG Ministries, better known as Genesis. You had his wife come out and start putting out these videos exposing, some of the dirty deeds and just putting their business out on Front Street on the way that he dealt with her, specifically things that were going on in the home, the way he was basically exploiting her for money and credit, and then leaving her out there high and dry. She was up in her feelings about the way that he spoke to her, the way that he was, the way he would talk to her, the things he would say, whatever. Bros ain't really tripping on none of that. There's been many lessons, from the elder Yashawamba, the elder brother out there in South Carolina, Manata Zakba, Elder Apostle Gabar put out a lesson, and many other brothers, speaking on this topic. Now, me personally, hold on, Salaki, 1 second. Me personally, I want to touch on the aspect of being a man, okay? Being a man, because this dude, the way that he was operating, and dealing, and he still behaves himself as a little child, because when he has elders, like the men, specifically with our apostles, man, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Ariamla, like, everybody's been warning these guys and rebuking them for, changing the doctrine and basically confusing and scattering the sheep. We've been warning them against their, the worldly persona that they've taken on, prophesying with their hats on, just being completely unruly, against elders, against rebuke, against warnings, and just being very prideful. So we've been warning these guys, and we told them, like, that they was gonna come when the Lord was gonna judge, and the Lord ain't done judging them. But they operate as little children left alone, novices lifted up with pride, and specifically in hearing, all of the information coming out, like these guys don't deal. This guy doesn't operate as a man, and I can speak from experience, So this is let's get this real quick. This is 1 Corinthians 13:11. It says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. And we still see the same type of behavior with these men. It's very childish, heaping all these women into yourselves, even though, in this point in time, and it's not unlawful, but it's not expedient. You putting out image onto the whole world that's a complete lie, and you're trying to uphold it. Why? Why even put that type of pressure on yourself? Why do you need to make everybody think that you're rich and you're wealthy and you pulling up in something nice and you go in the garage, you hopping in something nice and you got all of these wives and you got this money, when we've come to find out that you on EBT and you basically are using your wives for money and credit, having them take out loans. That's not having money. A nigga will go to the bank and take out a loan and go to the club and spend it like a flex. That's childish. Who are you trying to impress? What are you doing that for? This is the type of shit that Deacon Akah does. That's not a flex. That's childish. That's immature. And bros better not be doing shit like that, man. Taking out high interest loans, payday loans. Bros, we know you get in particular spots, man, but that's what the brotherhood is for. Call a brother and let him know your situation. We can come together and see if we can help. But that's better than you going to a payday loan place or, taking out a high interest loan and taking out more debt to try to pay it down or try to fix it, or, that's what these type of niggas do, because they operate as children, little ass children left alone with no parents, constantly making poor fucking decisions, man. That's these guys. This is I'm gonna run it back. 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I spake as a child, Salakia, when I was a child, I spake as a child, understood as a child. Okay, when you're a child, you can understand things as a child because you are basically destitute of wisdom at that point. It says I understood as a child. You just don't have any understanding. All right. It says I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. And this truth is meant for you to grow. You're supposed to put away the old man and put on the new. You're supposed to grow into a whole new creature. All right. What we saw with these guys is that they continue to be the same nigga that they was in the world with some knowledge of the scriptures, which we found out was really no knowledge because the Lord completely took that information away. He took it away from them. And they spewing all of this madness, basically throwing away everything that they had learned. But, again, the point is addressing Dylan as a man, because that's it's very childish to be doing shit like that, man. Take out a high interest loan. You think they using that money for anything responsible? No, man. That's to maintain a lifestyle that he portrays to the world that's not real. These broke niggas that's talking all of this shit that are trying to flex when that's not what this truth is about, and they ain't got no money. So they constantly acting out of desperation, which is not a real man would do. A real man would get up and go and work with his hands. A real man would wake up at the crack of dawn. Put in 8 to 12 hours overtime if you need to. Get it the hard way. Not afraid to labor. But these guys are rather, make merchandise of the people and cut corners and shortcuts, and that well always runs dry and never works out. And now we see that the Lord is exposing it all, because the dude was never standing up and operating as a man. This is 1 Corinthians 14:20 says, brethren, be not children in understanding, howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men. In understanding be men. Okay, so we supposed to learn this truth and operate our lives with this truth. That's what wisdom is. It's the application of knowledge. You're supposed to apply the knowledge that we acquire through this truth and apply it to your life. That's not prudence. All right? I'm going to say this too. For you brothers, really into the women, operate with wisdom dealing with these women. Don't be too dependent on your woman. Being too dependent on your woman, because I ain't trying to tell a brother how to deal with that woman. I'm just trying to tell brothers the type of mindset to have, because when you're young, when you're in that childish state of mind, you don't care if you lean heavily upon your woman, but she's taking care of all type of shit for you. When I was real young, man, you had this mentality, and bros know it's true. You had this mentality where you think you can fuck your way through life. You think you can ride a woman out, get a dick drunk, and she'll be willing to take care of your ass, pay your rent, let you live with her, pay rent, let you drive her car and all that type of shit. But that's a childish thing. You can do that in your younger years, but when you grow up and become a man, you should start working on having your own shit, having your own things, having your own home. But because the truth of the matter is, any woman scorned can do the exact same thing to any one of us. Start putting the business out in the street, start exposing things. So, you got to be mindful in dealing with these women, because this can happen to any one of us. But when you're too heavily dependent on your woman, I understand that a woman is supposed to be a helpmeet, but we living in a world that's completely out of order, and everyone is completely out of order, especially the woman. They're already inherently wicked, and they're destitute of wisdom, and so we got to consider these things when dealing with the woman, man. Hey, work on building yourself up to where you can have things of your own, to where you're not so heavily dependent on a woman. So when shit goes sour, man, you got a home to go to. You don't have to completely start over from scratch. The other thing is this. You young, you think you got game, you think you can manipulate these women, because you can say this, you can say that. Bro, it's always going to be one who get tired of your shit and your manipulation. That manipulation ain't going to last forever. You can't manipulate every woman. And then at some point, these women, they'll snap out of that shit and get very bitter about whatever it is, whatever game you've been running. They'll get very bitter. So don't think, you just, the King Mac, and that you're going to be able to manipulate these women forever, man. That ain't true. So we ought to operate with wisdom. This is, again, 1 Corinthians 14:20 says, "Brethren, be not children in understanding, howbeit in malice be ye children, but in understanding be men." In LT it says, "Dear brothers and sisters, don't be childish in your understanding of these things. Be innocent as babies when it comes to evil, but be mature in understanding in matters of this kind." You gotta be mature in this thing. You gotta grow up. All right. Let's see what it says for understanding.
Strong's G 5424. Frame.
All right. It says, the midriff or diaphragm, the parts of the heart, the mind. Okay, so we're dealing with the mind. It says the faculty of perceiving and judging. We supposed to be equipped with that. Are we not being, going to be judges over the 12 tribes of Israel? Okay, in the kingdom. You got to be able to perceive. You got to have a level of discernment. That's it. It gives me a headache thinking about how much work it takes to try to keep up with all of these lies and bullshit. I'm way more peaceful getting my ass up, even though I don't want to, going to work, working my 8-10 hours, tired as hell, and coming home knowing that in 2 weeks I'm going to have a deposit in the bank. And then I can work with that. I'll tailor my life around whatever that deposit is and go and get me a home, give me a little bit of food, and keep it pushing. But brothers want to bounce, have all these women, create these particular narratives about themselves that they doing it big, and knowing it's a lie, then they got to continuously act out of desperation to keep it going. It's a horrible way to live. Childish as fuck. Men aren't doing that. Men don't even care what you think, especially men in this truth. We don't give a damn about what you think about how we live. But I guarantee you go to brothers' homes, man, bros ain't nasty. Bros are clean. Brothers take care of themselves. Like, their hygiene is on point. And the main thing is just, eating this roll and going out and teaching the children of Israel. All that extra shit, man. Why add all of that hell to yourself, man, to your life, by bringing in another woman that has a potential to be fucking bitter and scornful? Then you're going to manipulate them into doing shit that they really don't want to do. Use them up, kick them to the curb, and thinking ain't going to be no consequences, man. There will. The woman going to try to create hell in your life. And then there's women, it ain't even about what she's saying, but there's women that'll do that to you just because you really don't have to do nothing to a woman. Just leave them. Put your woman away and watch her come back with some scornful shit to try to hurt you or try to discredit you or try to harm your image in the eyes of the people that know you. It comes with it. Okay, so why do I want to open myself up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 women to bring more of that hell into my life in this time where we can see we're at the brink of the end of prophecy? I'm doing a lot of rambling, Salakia. 2 more precepts real quick. I'm going to go through them. 1 Timothy 3. I could really get this whole chapter. But I'm going to just jump straight to the point. It says, "For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of the Most High? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into the condemnation of the devil." So, if you don't know how to rule your own house, how the hell are you supposed to rule and take care of the church of the Most High, which are the believers, the followers of Hamashiach? You got to be able to hold down and understand how to rule your own house first. That requires you to mature, to operate as a man, to show yourself a man, to be a man in understanding. Otherwise, you ain't got no business standing before the congregation calling yourself a leader and trying to teach. Because then it's all a lie. It's not real. It's not sincere. Last scripture. Acts 20:27, it says, "For I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of the Most High. Take heed therefore unto yourselves and to all the flock over the which the Holy Spirit hath made you overseers, to feed the church of the Most High, which he hath purposed with his own blood." See? Verse 29 says, "For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter in among you, not sparing the flocks. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things, to draw away disciples after them. Therefore watch, and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn every one night and day with tears." You know, and that's what is happened with these guys, you know, from TCG, who basically are just saying, hey, you know, we got some drama going on, so we're going to step away. Why is the whole group, if this shit is going on just with Deacon and Car, why is the whole group needing to step away? What more is going on behind the scenes that hasn't been exposed yet? Or is this just their escape plan? They got what they wanted from putting all of that bullshit, those bullshit breakdowns out to the people, and now they just sliding out the back door. These are those grievous wolves that have entered in among us, and they're not sparing the flock. They're literally leading you all to the slaughter. Anybody that listens to them. These men, they don't even operate as men. The one thing I took away after listening to them videos is this nigga is childish as hell. The way he moves, the way he handles his business within his household. Not that it's my business, but now that business is out there. But the way he moves is childish as hell. You wouldn't move like that unless you're a young man in a young state of mind. Grow up. With that, I'm going to say shalom.